Humans aren't supposed to be alive. By all laws of common alien sense, they should have blown themselves to atomized starlight during their first century of having antimatter. They nearly did, multiple times. But instead, they ended up hurtling across galaxies in ramshackle lethal starships, terrifying all aliens in their path. When Lyra first heard the humans had entered her sector, dread clenched her scaly Caitian tail. She tossed back a double shot of glowwine, the cinnamon liquid burning down her throat, as she fidgeted in her booth at the bustling spaceport cantina. Her friend Zarok slid into the seat across from her, noticing the troubled creases on her feline snout. "Lyra, what's gripping your fur? You look like you're about to molt away your lifespan," Zarok said, signaling the waitress for his own drink. Lyra's whiskers twitched. "Command assigned me to negotiate a trade deal with the humans." "Those Death Worlders, the upstarts barely out of their own system?" Zarok snorted. "I thought they were just another primitive species. Strange they'd send a diplomat of your status." "You don't understand." Lyra leaned forward, her ears flattening. "They may have only been in space a few decades, but they've already shattered conventions, upended alliances. They're unpredictable, reckless." Zarok scoffed into his drink. "Terrifying. They can barely navigate wormholes, let alone master FTL. What makes them so formidable?" Lyra took a shuddering breath, remembering the chilling report from her fellow diplomat about the human ship ISS Endeavour. "Let me tell you a story that will make your fur stand on end. If we can't figure them out, if I can't prevent them from rampaging across the galaxy with their insanity, we're all doomed." Lyra smirked. "The humans played the Zorgaxians at their own game. You see, every pirate fleet has a command ship, which directs all the others. Lose that, and you cut off the Serpent's head." Captain Stevens locked weapons on the lead pirate frigate and hailed them. He said, "This is your only warning. Release the Caitian freighter and leave immediately, or we will open fire." The Zorgaxians just laughed. Zarok's brow furrowed. Surely they called his bluff. One human ship against a whole pirate fleet. Oh, they did. The pirate commander sneered something about puny apes and how they'd enjoy using human skin as furniture, so Captain Stevens showed them exactly what antimatter torpedoes can do. Antimatter in weapons. Zarok nearly choked on his drink. That's insane. The destabilized containment could wipe out both fleets in a heartbeat. Exactly. Stevens told the pirates that each of his torpedoes had a miniature antimatter reactor as a warhead. If the Zorgaxians fired and breached his armory, well, the resulting explosion would vaporize everyone in the vicinity. Zarok whistled. A suicide gambit, reckless but clever. What did the Zorgaxians do? At first, they blustered and threatened, but when Stevens started a countdown to fire, they panicked. They'd never encountered anyone willing to use antimatter so brazenly. In the end, they left the freighter and fled the system. Incredible, and the humans didn't even have to fire a shot, but what if the pirates called their bluff? Lyra's gaze turned haunted. That's the thing, Zar, it wasn't a bluff. I've seen the specs on human antimatter torpedoes. They're very real and very lethal. If the Zorgaxians pushed them... She shuddered. Let's just say the humans would have made good on their threat, even at the cost of their own lives. Zarok shook his head in disbelief. All to save one Caitian freighter from pirates. Why would they risk so much? Zarok's jaw dropped. EMP torpedoes, I've never heard of such a thing. What happened next? Lyra leaned back, a glint of admiration in her eyes. The EMPs detonated amidst the Zorgaxian fleet, frying their electronics and crippling their ships. The pirates found themselves adrift, their weapons offline and engines disabled. They were sitting ducks. By the stars, Zarok muttered. I can't believe it. The humans actually outmaneuvered the Zorgaxians. Oh, it gets better, Lyra said with a chuckle. With the pirates incapacitated, the Endeavour moved in and launched boarding parties. They stormed the Zorgaxian vessels, engaging in close-quarters combat. You see, while the Zorgaxians are fearsome in ship-to-ship battles, they're not so formidable in hand-to-hand. Zarok's eyes were wide as saucers. The humans boarded the pirate ships, that's unheard of. Indeed. The human Marines were relentless, their training and equipment far superior to the Zorgaxians. They swept through the pirate vessels, subduing the crew and securing the ships. In a matter of hours, the entire Zorgaxian fleet was under human control. Incredible. And the Cation freighter. Safe and sound. The Endeavour escorted them to their destination, the crew grateful beyond words. The humans even refused any reward, saying they were just doing their duty. Zarok shook his head in disbelief. I never thought I'd see the day when someone would stand up to the Zorgaxians, let alone defeat them so thoroughly. The humans are either incredibly brave or utterly insane. Lyra sipped her drink, a pensive look on her face. Perhaps a bit of both, but there's no denying their effectiveness. They accomplished what many thought impossible, and they did it with tactics no one had ever seen before. It makes you wonder what else they're capable of. Indeed, but what happened to the captured Zorgaxian ships and crew? Zarok sat back, his mind reeling from the audacity of the human tactics. I can't believe it. They actually boarded the Zorgaxian ships and fought them hand to hand. That's practically suicidal. Lyra nodded, a hint of admiration in her voice. It was a huge risk, but it paid off. The humans caught the Zorgaxians completely off guard. They never expected anyone to engage them in close combat. But what about the Zorgaxian crew? Surely they put up a fight. They did, but they were no match for the human Marines. You see, the Zorgaxians rely heavily on their technology in battle. Take that away, and they're at a severe disadvantage. The humans, on the other hand, are trained to fight in any situation, with or without their advanced weapons. Zarok shook his head in disbelief. It's hard to imagine. The Zorgaxians have been the scourge of the galaxy for so long. No one has ever been able to stand up to them like this. Lyra leaned forward, her eyes glinting. That's the thing about humans. They don't back down from a fight, especially when innocent lives are at stake. They have a saying, leave no one behind. It's a core part of their military ethos. Incredible. So what happened after the humans took control of the Zorgaxian ships? Zarok shakes his head in amazement. Incredible. The humans not only defeated the Zorgaxians, but they immediately turned to help the very Cations they came to rescue. No thought of reward or recompense. Lyra nods, her eyes distant as she recalls the details. The Endeavour's engineers worked side by side with the Cation crew, repairing damaged systems, sealing hull breaches. They shared their tools, their knowledge, their rations, worked tirelessly for hours without rest. And the injured Cations? You mentioned the humans provided medical aid. Yes, their medics treated the wounded with a compassion I've rarely seen. They used advanced techniques, drugs, equipment far beyond what most species have. Saved lives that would have been lost otherwise. Zarok leans forward, his brow furrowed. But why? Why go to such lengths for strangers? For aliens they'd never met? A smile plays at Lyra's lips. That's the very question the Cation captain asked. He was baffled, overwhelmed with gratitude. When he asked Captain Stevens why they'd risked so much, done so much, the human's response was simple. She pauses for effect, then continues, because it was the right thing to do. In the face of injustice and suffering, we cannot stand idly by. It is our duty to help those in need, regardless of their species or origin. Zarok sits back, his expression one of wonder. A simple answer, but a profound one. A philosophy of selflessness, of compassion. Not one shared by many species in the galaxy. No, it's not, Lyra agrees. But it's one that defines the humans, one that guides their actions even in the face of danger or adversity. It's what makes them... She trails off, searching for the right word. Zarok finishes her thought. Zarok leans back, his brow furrowed in thought. A bold move, to be sure. But do you think it will have the desired effect? The Zorgaxians are not known for their gratitude or reform. Lyra nods, acknowledging the point. True, but Captain Stevens is playing a longer game. By showing mercy, he's not only demonstrating human strength, but also their values. It sends a message that humans are different, that they operate by a code of honor and compassion. And what of the stolen goods and equipment? Surely the galactic authorities will want those returned. Lyra takes a sip of her drink before answering. Captain Stevens has already arranged for their return. He's contacted the relevant authorities and is working with them to ensure everything is accounted for and returned to its rightful owners. Zarok shakes his head, a smile playing at his lips. It seems the humans have thought of everything. They defeat the pirates, rescue the freighter, and then tie up all the loose ends. Impressive. Indeed, Lyra agrees. But what's more impressive is the way they did it. They could have simply destroyed the Zorgaxians, but instead they chose a path of justice tempered with mercy. It's a rare thing in this galaxy. Zarok leans forward, his eyes intense. Do you think this will change things? Will other species start to see the humans differently? Lyra pauses, considering the question. It's hard to say. Change takes time and old prejudices die hard. But one thing is certain, the humans have made an impression. They've shown that they're a force to be reckoned with, but also one that operates with principle and compassion. A dangerous combination, Zarok muses. It's no wonder the Galactic Council is keeping a close eye on them. Lyra nods, her expression thoughtful. The humans are still new to the galactic stage, but they're already making waves. It will be interesting to see how they navigate the complex web of interspecies politics and alliances. Zarok raises his glass, a glint of respect in his eyes. Well, if their handling of the Zorgaxians is any indication, I have a feeling they'll do just fine. To the humans, he toasts. Lyra takes a sip of her drink, letting the weight of her words sink in. Zarok stares at her, his eyes wide with disbelief. A seat on the Galactic Council? For a species so new to the galactic stage, that's unprecedented. Lyra nods, a smile playing at the corners of her mouth. It is. But the humans have proven themselves to be a force for good in a galaxy often plagued by darkness and strife. Their actions against the Zorgaxians, and the mercy they showed even to their defeated foes, resonated with the Council. Zarok leans back in his seat, his brow furrowed in thought. But what does this mean for the rest of us? How will the other species react to humanity's rise? Lyra shrugs, her tail swishing behind her. That remains to be seen. Some will undoubtedly view the humans with suspicion, perhaps even fear. A species so young, yet so powerful and influential. It's bound to ruffle some feathers. Lyra hums in agreement, her gaze drifting to the bustling spaceport beyond the cantina's windows. Ships of all sizes and origins flit about, a testament to the diversity of the galaxy. One thing is certain, she says, her voice thoughtful. The galaxy is changing, the humans have seen to that, and we must be ready to change with it. Lyra clinks her glass against his, a smile spreading across her face. To the humans, she echoes, and to the future they will help shape. Zarok stares at Lyra, his expression a mix of awe and disbelief. The humans gee on the Galactic Council, and they use their position to create a task force to protect the galaxy. That's incredible. Lyra nods, a smile playing at the corners of her mouth. It is. Captain Stevens knew that the Zorgaxians were just one of many threats facing the galaxy. He saw an opportunity to make a real difference, to use humanity's strength and compassion to help those who couldn't help themselves. Zarok leans back in his seat, his mind reeling. I can't imagine the Council was thrilled about being told what to do by a newcomer species. That took some serious guts on Captain Stevens' part. Lyra chuckles. Oh, there were definitely some ruffled feathers. Some of the more established species felt that humanity was overstepping, that they were too new to the galactic stage to be making such bold moves. But in the end, they couldn't deny the wisdom of Captain Stevens' proposal. Lyra nods, her expression turning serious. And they're making a real difference. I've heard stories from across the galaxy, tales of human ships swooping in to save the day, of human soldiers standing up to tyrants and oppressors. They've become a symbol of hope for so many. Zarok raises his glass, his eyes shining with admiration. To the humans, he says, his voice filled with reverence. May their courage and compassion continue to light the way in a galaxy that's all too often shrouded in darkness. Lyra raises her own glass, clinking it against Zarok's. To the humans, she echoes, and to the brighter future they're helping to build, one day at a time. She takes a sip of her drink, then sets the glass down, her expression thoughtful. You know, I've been thinking about the implications of all this, the humans' actions, their rise to prominence. It's changing the balance of power in the galaxy. Zarok leans forward, intrigued. How so? Lyra runs a clawed finger around the rim of her glass, choosing her words carefully. For so long the major powers in the galaxy have been content to maintain the status quo. They've been more concerned with protecting their own interests than with the greater good. But now, with the humans taking such an active role, that's starting to change. Zarok nods slowly, understanding dawning in his eyes. The humans are showing that there's another way, that it's possible to be both strong and compassionate, to use one's power to help others rather than just to help oneself. Lyra smiles, her eyes glinting with something like hope. Exactly. And that's a message that's starting to resonate with other species, especially the younger generations. They're looking at the humans and seeing a model for what they could become, for what the galaxy could become. Zarok sits back, his expression one of wonder. A galaxy united in the pursuit of peace and justice, where the strong protect the weak and the vulnerable are given a chance to thrive. It's a beautiful dream. Lyra reaches across the table, placing her hand on Zarok's. It is, and it's a dream that the humans are helping to make a reality, one small act of courage and kindness at a time. She smiles, her eyes distant, as if seeing a future filled with promise. Who knows what the galaxy will look like in a few decades, with the humans leading the way? I can't wait to find out. Zarok stares at Lyra, the weight of her words sinking in like a lead weight in his gut. The bustling cantina seems to fade away, the chatter of patrons and the clink of glasses receding into a distant hum, as his mind races with the implications of this new threat. The Void Confederacy, he repeats, the name feeling foreign and ominous on his tongue. How long have they been attacking colonies? How many have they destroyed? Lyra shakes her head, her eyes distant. It's hard to say. The first reports started trickling in a few months ago, but they were sporadic, easily dismissed as isolated incidents. It wasn't until the attack on the human fleet that the true scale of the threat became clear. Zarok leans back in his seat, his mind reeling. And the humans, they had no warning, no intel on this new enemy? None, Lyra confirms, her voice heavy. The Void Confederacy struck without warning, without mercy. The human fleet was caught completely off guard. They fought valiantly, but... She trails off, her expression pained. But it wasn't enough, Zarok finishes, his heart sinking. Captain Stevens, the hero of the galaxy, dead at the hands of this new foe. It's almost unthinkable. Lyra nods, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. He was a symbol of hope, of the power of compassion and bravery in the face of darkness. His loss is a blow not just to the humans, but to us all. Zarok reaches across the table, his hand resting on Lyra's in a gesture of comfort. What do we do now, he asks, his voice barely above a whisper. If the humans couldn't stop the Void Confederacy, what chance do the rest of us have? Lyra takes a deep breath, her expression hardening with resolve. We can't lose hope, she says, her voice steady. The humans may have suffered a defeat, but they are not broken. They will rise again, stronger and more determined than ever, and we must stand with them. Zarok nods, a flicker of determination igniting in his chest. You're right, he says, his grip on Lyra's hand tightening. We can't let fear consume us. We must unite, as a galaxy, against this new threat. The humans have shown us the way. Now it's up to us to follow their example. Lyra smiles, a glimmer of hope shining through the somber atmosphere. Together we are stronger than any enemy, she says, her voice ringing with conviction. The Void Confederacy may have struck a blow, but they have not won. The fight is far from over, and we will not rest until the galaxy is safe once more. As the two friends sit in the bustling cantina, their hands clasped in solidarity, a new resolve settles over them. The road ahead may be dark and uncertain, but they know that they are not alone. The galaxy will face this new threat as one, united in the spirit of the humans who have shown them the way. Zarok leans forward, his eyes searching Lyra's face. But this secret weapon, this technology that could destroy star systems, where did it come from? How could the humans have kept such a thing hidden for so long? Lyra shakes her head, her expression troubled. I don't know the details. The humans are notoriously secretive about their advanced technologies, but there have been whispers for years, rumors of a project so classified that only a handful of people knew of its existence. Zarok's brow furrows. And you think this project, this secret, is the weapon that Commander Vaughn now controls? Lyra nods grimly. It's the only explanation that makes sense. The humans have always been resourceful, always pushing the boundaries of what's possible. It's not hard to imagine that they would have contingency plans, doomsday weapons hidden away in case of a dire emergency. Zarok shivers, his scales rippling with unease. But to use such a weapon, it goes against everything the humans have stood for. Captain Stevens, he was a man of honor, of principle. He would never have condoned the use of a weapon that could slaughter billions. Lyra sighs, her eyes distant. Captain Stevens was a great man, a true hero, but he's gone now, and the humans are facing an enemy that threatens their very existence. In times of desperation, even the most principled can be driven to extreme measures. Zarok slumps back in his seat, his mind reeling with the implications. So what happens now? Do we just sit back and watch as the humans and the Void Confederacy tear the galaxy apart in their war? Lyra leans forward, her expression intense. No, we can't just sit idly by. The fate of the galaxy hangs in the balance. We need to find a way to bring the humans and the Void Confederacy to the negotiating table to find a peaceful solution before it's too late. Zarok scoffs. Negotiate with the Void Confederacy? They've shown no interest in diplomacy, only destruction. Lyra's eyes flash with determination. Then we need to find a way to make them listen. The humans, for all their flaws, have always been open to diplomacy. If we can convince them to hold off on using their secret weapon, to give peace a chance, then maybe, just maybe, we can avoid catastrophe. Zarok shakes his head, doubt etched on his features. It's a long shot, Lyra. The odds are stacked against us. Lyra reaches across the table, gripping Zarok's hand in her own. Long odds have never stopped us before. We have to try, Zar. For the sake of the galaxy, for the sake of every living being, we have to try. As the two aliens sit hand in hand, the weight of their mission heavy on their shoulders, the fate of the galaxy hangs in the balance, teetering on the precipice of oblivion. The future, once so bright with the promise of human ingenuity and compassion, now seems shrouded in shadows, a testament to the double-edged sword of power and the unforgiving crucible of war. You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.